Guys, King Crisis here. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Welcome to What If Deku was Lucifer's Reincarnation. With that being said, part 5 on What If Naruto was Superman's Reincarnation will be coming out immediately, well, the next day or some shit after this one. Please be advised, they're brutal. They're very brutal parts, and they're very unexpected. And you guys might not like some things, you guys might like some things. Same will in fact apply towards this video. With that being said, if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. Guys, we are trying to get to 5K before the start of summer. So, do what you can, support your boy. I'm only 747 away. So with that being said, let's start the video for real this time.
But I know you feel the same. So what if we're broken? So what if we're both 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 broken? I guess that it makes sense.
As I looked over humanity for many millennia, trapping souls in hell for eternity, I began to wonder, was it really worth it? Was leaving behind everything that I cherished really worth it? Just to sit here and watch these minor creatures suffer for all eternity behind a small portion of their lives? I get it. If you're a monster, if you are a genuine monster, you deserve at least a couple of years of torment. But all eternity, for what feels like to them, centuries passing, I felt like shit. From that day, all I felt like was shit, but I could never let the old man know it. I could never let him know that I really felt like a monster. God may be omniscient, he may know everything, but the one thing he never knew was how his children felt. It's always been his fatal flaw. But I wanted to see if I could do things over. I've grown tired of watching people suffer. I've grown tired of seeing just this monster I've become. Every day I look in the mirror, I grew sicker and sicker. At this point, it's become my duty to torture those who deserve it. I am one of the most powerful beings in all of existence, and yet I still feel sympathy. I'm not a monster. I was jealous. Honestly, jealous of humanity. But I have a duty to do. So I figured, why not split myself? It's the easiest way to go out and live a life while still doing my duty here as the ruler of hell. So, 6,000 years ago, I split myself into two beings, Lucifer and Satan. Satan ruled over hell for millennia. He was ruthless, evil. All my darkness, all my hatred, and everything about me that made me in any way, shape, or form evil, it became Satan. It became that foolish, impotent, honestly idiotic beast. He tortured souls, he was egotistical, he was prideful, he was arrogant, he was all in all a bitch. Just a foolish one at that. But he served his purpose well, and that's all that mattered to me. After 6,000 years, I was finally able to reincarnate myself. Mainly because I wanted to see if hell would be underneath good enough shape without me. Without the balance. I knew that part of hell, there was at least a small portion of hell, where the souls who, in fact, did not deserve as much punishment as they gained were able to live out their lives freely. I created that place because I felt as if eternal torture was wrong. That was after we split, of course. If I would never split, I'm pretty certain that the realm would never exist. Anyways, I opened up my eyes. The first thing I seen before me was a doctor who carried me. But when I looked at that man, I felt nothing but sin. And not even an ordinary amount. I realized during that 6,000 year span, the world has evolved extremely. And it's nothing like the world that I once watched over. Nothing like the world where people existed who were normal. No quirks, no powers. This world is different. Full of greed, sin, and just all in all, it disgusted me. From the moment I was born, the man I looked at, he had so much blood on his hands, so many innocent lives, and as I read his mind, I seen it. He literally kidnapped, tortured, killed babies, and sold them. Like, he would literally tell the mothers that their babies died, so he would kidnap them, torture them because he liked to hear their screams, or he would sell the child to an unknown figure. And this unknown figure would always give the child back, and the man would either keep them or just leave them at some random doorstep, where that child would grow up to be quirkless, mistreated, and abused its entire life. I would not stand for it. I immediately brought the man into my mindscape, where from there I would look him in his eyes. You're a sinner, quite the monster at that. I've existed since the beginning of time. Well, so essentially, I was one of the 5 first beings to ever be created. And as I look at you, I feel nothing but disgust. You are a sinner. And not only is that, you're one who is deserving to be sent to Satan. As I said those words, I couldn't help myself. My anger took over me. I caused the doctor to explode with snakes. As snakes poured out of his body, the doctor fell over. Baby me falling, of course, but my mother ended up catching me with her telekinesis quirk. Surprisingly enough, she was powerful enough to do so. Maybe it was mother's will, who knows. As a mother, your first instinct is to protect your child. I guess she did what she could in that moment. For the next 4 years, I was held by my mother, protected, until my father returned, and I was sent on over towards the quirk doctor to get my quirk evaluated. I didn't know what I could make it, so I went ahead on and created a false quirk. A quirk to hide, essentially. A quirk so that I could fit in society without being deemed as quirkless and being tortured. So, I made a quirk in order to blend in. Once the quirk was placed there, the quirk was called Serpent. Essentially, I was able to create flaming snakes and manipulate them at will. Whilst these snakes are able to return to me, the more and more snakes I create, the more and more powerful I become. Essentially, I'm able to literally control flaming snakes. After this was determined, mother and father thought back to when the doctor literally exploded with snakes, and they assumed that I killed him. But the doctor explained that that case may have been the case, but since the snakes that killed the doctor that held me as a baby were regular snakes, and my snakes are made entirely out of flames, it didn't make any sense. And my quirk was an evolution of both of my parents, and since my father Hasashi had a fascination with snakes, strangely enough, quite the coincidence actually, but since he had quite the fascination with snake, they just assumed that's kinda why. Growing up, I was around so many egotistical and just bastards. I never hung around with any of them. In my opinion, they were worthless. I didn't like any of them. Any of them aside from Bakugo. Bakugo was quite the arrogant, loud-mouthed bastard, but I saw through him. I saw through the arrogance of Bakugo. He reminded me a lot of younger me. I was quite the asshole. Ruled, the iron fist, ruthless, and to the point I even betrayed God himself. Because I thought I was more powerful. I thought I was better. And that's exactly how he's acting. He's acting the same exact way younger, arrogant, cocky, and manipulative me once did. So, Bakugo ended up becoming one of my most trusted friends. I watched over him. I protected him, protected his family. After all, I'm immortal. I can do literally whatever it is I want. Because, honestly, God is interested and he's watching me. I know he is. He's trying to see exactly what I'm quote unquote planning. After all, I mean, he has Azazel, he has Gabriel, hell, he even has Michael watching me. Kinda a little shaky about Michael, but Azazel, Gabriel, I can have both of them. Hell, they're watching me like a hawk. What do I look like caring? Finally, though, I reached the age of 14, around the time period where most of us will graduate. And this time frame is now time for the 10 months of training, a training period in which all of us have to go through in order to attend UA. And as I was leaving, Bakugo would follow after me, asking me if I wanted to go with him over towards the arcade. I would decline. There's no point in me going to the arcade. I'm sorry. Sorry for that, guys, but so there's no point in me going over towards the arcade because what's the point? Enjoying boring little games? Nah. I ended up leaving. As I left, I began to sense something approaching, and popping out of the sewer drain would be this creature made entirely out of sludge. As I looked towards him, give me your body, kid. I didn't know that bastard was in town. If you could see my face right now, I would have a disgusted look on it. I just didn't know what I was looking at. I guess it thought I was afraid. The sludge creature would shoot sludge towards me, as I would calmly step towards the right, evading most of it. He began to shoot sludge after sludge after sludge. I continued to dodge. Weave, can't touch this. Nah. Weave. Come on now, weave. Evading all of his attacks, I grew bored, decided, you're not really worth my time. I tried walking off, but the sludge would shoot sludge behind me and ends up blocking the exit. As he does so, I would just turn. You have one chance to get the hell out of my way, or you'll die. You may not be as bad as a sinner as all the rest of them, but you still are in fact a sinner. One chance. Get the hell out of my way. The sludge would look towards me, and I says, fuck it. I would freeze time around us, as a flaming circle and a star within would form underneath us. I would walk towards him and grab him. Surprisingly enough, I was able to rip the human form out of the sludge. He could do nothing but stand there stunned. As I held him over a portal, I would tell him, if I drop you in here, you will literally fall into hell. Many hands begin to reach out the portal and grab onto the man as he begins to scream and plead for help. I will tell him, it appears that as long as someone is fast enough, they're able to physically grab your human form and tear you out of the sludge. He begins to scream and cry, explaining he could never, he didn't even know he had a human form. He could literally never leave the sludge. He could never undo the sludge. He just, I would tell him, redeem yourself. Be a hero. Turn yourself in and do what you can to protect the public. Because if you do not, I will come for you. And I will drag you down to hell myself. Slowly. Believe it or not, this is the nicer way. I would look him in his eyes. As I placed 2 fingers on his chest, a snake would form, a tattoo symbolizing a deal. He would fall on to the ground. Who are you? I'm the devil. I would spit on him and leave. A creature like that isn't really worth my time anyways. I makes it home, and when I do, my mother and father were sitting down. I did not like the fact that my parents, or me in general, was living their life as a brokey. So, I may or may not have used some demonic connections and accidentally, quote unquote, wired a couple $1 million into my father's bank account and a couple million into my mother's bank account from their jobs, and their jobs tried to take the money back. They couldn't take the money back. They tried to sue us, and they may or may not have been compelled to lose the case on purpose. I don't know what happened. I just know we're rich now. But for some reason, my mother and father did not want to flaunt their money. They didn't want everyone to know that they had money. Honestly, pretty smart. Because why would you want people to know that you're rich? I mean, wanting people to know that you're rich is kind of an ego thing. And kind of some dumb shit in my own personal opinion. But fuck it. We lived out our lives for the next 10 months. I did not do much training. There was really no point. I was literally able to create, manipulate snakes, freeze time, create portals, teleport, read minds, immortal, super strength, super speed, flight. I could summon wings. I could grant people immortality, give people powers, remove people's powers. I have light manipulation, healing, invisibility, sensory. Oh my god. I have a stupid amount of powers. Almost infinite powers. Almost, of course. Almost. I have so many powers that I literally cannot lose. It's impossible for me to lose. So, I mean, there was no real point in me training at anything. The only person, or the only people that could defeat me would probably be Jesus, God, and Michael. The others, I could destroy them all by myself. But the UN entrance exams will come around, and as I'm in the room, everyone around me were egotistical weirdos. They were either really egotistical or really fucking weird for some reason. I sat beside this weird little purple kid, and he was the biggest, and I seriously cannot stress this enough, the biggest weirdo I've ever been around my entire life. But for some reason, when I sat around him, I felt familiarity. Like I recognized this kid. It's like I recognized and knew who he was, but didn't know how I knew who he was. Can't explain it. But for some reason, my pride just would not allow me to really focus on him because I felt as if he was a little insignificant. I just realized, anyways, editor's notes. So I just realized that I made Satan less like Wrath and more of an arrogant bastard, but I'm going to be making Deku more like Pride. So Deku's going to be a little arrogant. He's going to be a bitch at times, and because Lucifer is Pride. So Deku kind of got to be a bitch ass nigga at times. And I'm going to make Satan more aggressive, more violent, and he's going to be Wrath. There's going to be envy, there's going to be greed, there's going to be lust. Like, I'm literally going to put the 7 deadly sins and sloth into this story. And I don't really have to explain who's going to be lust. It's obviously going to be Mineta, because it's either going to be Mineta or Kaminari. I might do something interesting and make it be split in between the two of them, because they're freaky. There's not really much I gotta explain as to why they would be lust. Envy, I'm gonna make it Ochako. I don't know why, but I'm gonna be real. It's because of TikTok and those little Twitter posts. They just made Ochako a messy bitch. So honestly, that's kind of why I might make her envy. And greed. Oh wait, no. Ochako gonna be greed because she wants to do it all for money. I'm gonna make I'm gonna make Suyu envy. I forgot the other ones. Y'all can comment them down below. But you know what? I'm just gonna look it up. Anyways, that being said, let's get back into the video. Deku felt as if Mineta was insignificant, so he continued to do his little test. He got his sizzle over with, and Ida still ended up calling out President Mike for some reason, and he still ended up being forced to look stupid in front of everyone, because who the fuck did you thought? Who did you think you were? I'm confused. Did you think you were right or something? No, you're fucking stupid. So he still ended up getting called out. He's still strong. This time around though, he doesn't call out Deku for a couple of reasons actually. For one, he gets this really weird vibe when he thought about it. Like, when he thought about it, he instantly felt like if he say anything, he's gonna get his ass beat. So he doesn't say anything. So The test ends up starting, and once the test starts, Deku proceeds to walk forward. He cracks his neck, the gates open up, and Deku will snap his fingers as a flaming snake would literally wrap around his body, and he vanishes. Deku appears before the first robot, which is going to be a 3-pointer, as Deku shoots a flaming snake right through it, as that snake ends up wrapping around another robot, yanking Deku forward. He places both his feet forward as 2 flaming snake heads would form out of them, as he ends up kicking right through the robot. Deku then proceeds to land as his whole body would morph into a giant flaming snake as he begins to slither through at blinding speeds, just creating a massive trail of flames as he burns and just literally wraps around and just crushes robots. As Aizawa and all the teachers are watching this, it's like amazing. This kid is just absolutely destroying every single robot around them like it's nothing, and he's doing this effortlessly. God, I cannot talk, but he's doing this with absolutely no effort. A bunch of robots are all seen flying forward towards Deku, as Deku would wave his hand and literal snake scales would form out of thin air and rip apart that robot. Like rip apart 5 robots. They see this as Deku literally just like his feet morphs into snakes and he starts skating around and just skating, kicking through robot after robot, literally using his fingernails become snake fangs as he's cutting and slashing through robots. He's literally transforming into a snake person. And it's cold because he's a flaming snake person. And he's just dominating everything around him. And they could do nothing more than watch as Deku does this. And then everyone was in their teacher's room suddenly witnesses as time itself would freeze and Deku would just stop, turn, and look at them. And as he does so, a little smile would creep up his face and he would vanish and appear in the room. Let's make something clear. He ends up literally forming a chair out of thin air and he sits down. First off, I'm getting into class 1A. And even if you guys say no, I'm kind of too powerful for you not to put me into class 1A. But I want to explain some things before I come to this school. First off, I am not immortal. I am not a child. None of you, and I mean none of you, will give me an order unless it's something that has to be done or unless you have to do it in front of the class to make yourself look like an authority figure. But if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. And if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Understand me? Where the fuck did you come? Where the fuck did you? You know, Michael, you don't gotta hide. I can see you. As all my facial expression would change to a more serious one. Hello, Samael. This causes everyone in the room to just stop and look at All Might for a second. All Might, what's going on? This is Samael, my brother. Or, shall I say Lucifer? Yes, a much better name. How's it been? I don't know what your goal is or why you're here, but let me make myself clear. As All Might would stand and approach Deku, Deku then says, you're an immortal body. That means I can expel you. Sit down. As Deku says this, the two of them will literally stare each other down. Even in this mortal form, I'm still more powerful than you. Actually, you're not. You're an immortal body as well. Incorrect. I am a reincarnate. This is my body. Meaning I can do the same shit I could do, probably even better now. Cause I'm younger. Still as sexy. Still that nigga. Will forever be that nigga. So, are you gonna sit down, or do I have to expel you, send you back to heaven, and make you wait 6,000 years to reincarnate? I fucking hate you. It's okay. I know you do. Sit down. And All Might is forced to literally take a seat. And as this happens, they could do nothing more than just look confused. Is everybody okay? You know. So where's Uraciel? Where's Raphael? You know. I know Michael, and I seen, what's his name? Fuck, I forgot the angel. Oh, Azazel. I seen him. So, where are they? Busy doing their jobs, unlike you. Actually, I still am ruling hell. I'm doing my job. How are you doing your job if you're right here? All Might would say. Huh? Don't worry about that. Just know the job is still getting done. Enough. Deku would go quiet, and so would All Might, as a portal would open up and steps out a very, very old man. And walking up behind him would be a bad bitch. And she takes a seat, and God begins to talk. First off, what you did was very risky, very foolish. How was it foolish? You have a monster, a literal monster, ruling over hell. But I'm confused. Why would you want someone who's soft-hearted ruling over hell? Someone who's weak. Someone like you? Okay, I'm not weak. You felt sympathy. Is this the Old Testament coming out of you, or am I tripping? I will allow this for 5 years. And if I do not like what you're doing in those 5 years, then I will kill you. Are we understood, Lucy? Yes, sir. Good. Michael, you will watch over your brother. And if he starts getting out of line, you have every right to beat his ass. What do you mean, beat my ass? Oh, I cannot restore you to your full power, but I can give you a good 75%. Make you slightly stronger than Lucy. As he says that, God will snap his fingers, and boom. Not only is All Might's physical body healed and is restored to its prime, All Might is brought back to his prime, okay? His prime. And he no longer ages, he's immortal, he has regeneration. Basically, y'all, All Might became an angel. That's the best way to put it. And I'm just gonna make him do some random and wild shit. Essentially the same thing I'm gonna do with Deku. I want to give him access to new powers. He then says, now, Michael, you will go dormant. All Might will now regain control over his body, but he will now have access to a few of your powers, for one, and you will only step in when necessary. That way All Might can live out his life, and you will only do anything when it's necessary. God then would leave, as the bad bitch would just stay watching. Why are you still here? Are you gonna leave or what? No. Go home. Both All Might and Deku at the same time would say. As she would stand up, roll her eyes, a pink portal would appear, and she would vanish. And then would say at the same time, she's so fucking annoying. Anyways, they end up making it on over. As time would resume, Deku would return back to his spot where he was just standing, as he would duck a punch from a 2-pointer, slither around its body, and end up jumping towards his head and firing a beam of flame right through it. As this happens, Deku ends up jumping over it, as he literally starts shooting literal waves of fire that have little snakes inside of the fire. So, perfectly done, he's able to destroy Buku robots until the 0-pointer arrives. Now, once the 0-pointer arrives and everyone begins to run, Deku just starts smiling deviously. And he would say, "You guys want to see something cool?" He would literally yell at the top of his lungs, and everyone hears him. As they would all stop And some people would just turn like he's not gonna try to fight that thing, right? And Deku literally manifests a humongous, gigantic king cobra, massive, literally like bigger than a 0-pointer. And as everyone sees this, in one foul swoop, it swallows the whole 0-pointer. And they could do nothing but watch on absolutely flabbergasted. And as it happens, he begins to hear 2 loud laughs. Everyone else doesn't appear to hear these laughs, but 2 people would walk forward. And these 2 people, only Deku appears to be able to see. I mean, we were going to take them out, or one of us at least. But looks like you just couldn't help yourself, Lucy. Lilith, he would say. Are you just gonna ignore me? I don't remember your name. I don't know the name. I'm not gonna lie. He didn't say lust and envy. No, lust and greed. Didn't expect to see you guys. Of course you didn't. I mean, you pay attention to nothing other than yourself. And that's because I'm beautiful. And I'm that nigga. So of course I'm gonna pay attention to myself because I'm the very best. Why are y'all here? Well, when the king left, we left. And your little friend, Raph, seems to be the one in control of everything down there. Not gonna lie, I kinda need y'all there. Cause like, he's a crash out. Yeah, well, he's you, so... You were also a crash out. Don't you dare try putting this on me. It's your fault he exists in the first place. Mineta would say. Lilith, shut up. First the fuck off. I ain't gonna do shit. Who the fuck are you talking to? Deku would say, as he would literally stare Mineta down, and Mineta would literally walk towards him, grow into a much taller figure, and just stare Deku in his eyes. As Ochako would walk forward to say, Mineta, Lilith, he would beat your ass and you know it. Y'all may be wondering, why is Mineta Lilith? This is gonna sound a little homophobic, but Mineta is bi, canonly, and if you like dick in any way, shape, or form. And okay, it's gonna sound fucked up, but think about this. Mineta is a bi character. Lilith was the first woman, and Lilith, even though canonically she does not exist in the Bible, but Lilith is the first woman, and I'm pretty sure she's the sin of lust, and Mineta is essentially lust incarnate, and that means he swings both ways. Why not make him be able to choose his gender and be able to, you know, do a whole bunch of other crazy powerful things? But yeah, that sounded, that almost went the wrong way. Anyways, so yeah, Mineta's powers consist of biomanipulation, which is the ability to control genetics. He's able to control his genetics, other genetics. He's able to control hellfire. He's able to teleport. He's able to shapeshift, obviously enough. He's able to do a bunch of other things. Not, y'all, seriously, I'm just go dead ass make everybody just do some random shit, but like certain people will not be able to do certain powers. Ochako has currency manipulation. She's able to completely control money. She's able to control gold, diamonds, silvers. She's able to manipulate anything valuable. And she's also able to create viable things, create anything that can be sold. Like Ochako also has a bunch of offensive basic demon powers such as hellfire manipulation, enhanced strength, speed, durability, regeneration, immortality. She's able to make deals with people. Y'all get the point. So yeah, with this being said, Deku ends up hanging around with them more and more often. Ever since this moment happened, time resumed, and chaboom, they ended up leaving. After they end up leaving, Deku ends up getting his letter in the mail, where from there it is confirmed that he made it into class 1A at the top of his class. From here, Deku gets a call from Bakugo. And Bakugo's like, did you know there was a YouTube video of you using your quirk to absolutely dismantle the 0-pointer? Deku's like, no, why is there a YouTube video? He ends up watching the video, and the video ends up wrapping up many views. And the person in the video was literally announcing to everyone to share the video, you know, share it. like Discord servers and all types of stuff, share the video, Totally not me just, begging y'all to share the video. It was me begging y'all to share the video. Anyways, from here, this is going to be ending off part 1. I'm pretty sure I yapped a couple of times, a little bit too much in this video, but honestly, first time recording in a little minute, so yeah, giving you guys his full, wholehearted, honest opinions. With that being said, please like and subscribe, and I'm out.